Morning. Don't worry, these men aren't ignoring me. They're monks. They keep a lid on it because they think God likes it. And who am I to tell them any different? No, I'm here to see if keeping stum will increase my sense of inner peace. We all know people, such as bin men, who we wish would take a vow of silence. Well, I'm about to spend the weekend with people who actually have. Aren't I? See? Father Paul, just in case anyone thinks I'm trying to lure you into breaking some sort of vow of silence by asking you a question. You can speak, can't you, Father?
Well, I wouldn't be much of a spokesman if I never spoke.
Catty! I like that. I like that. Why is it that monks love silence so much?
We all need silence, and it's harder to find in the modern world.
Yes, what one thinks is silence is often not, because you listen a little harder, you can hear the beep of a truck reversing, or in the still of the night, what one thinks is a neighbour's baby crying, but in actual fact it's two foxes making love with one another.
I suppose the only place one can find true silence would be outer space.
Hence the phrase, in space, no one can hear you scream.
From Alien.
Yes, I remember when I first saw that, I thought, finally, a movie that acknowledges the fact that sound cannot travel through a vacuum. I bet you guys would love a vacuum.
It'd save the brothers having to sweep the floor.
There's that cattiness again. I mean, you're clearly a character. You definitely are.
From a Christian perspective, silence is a way of forming a deeper bond with God.
Although some young Christians use noise in much the same way that sirens of Greek mythology would lure unsuspecting sailors onto the rocks, the young Christians will sing hymns whilst banging a tambourine, and in the confusion, you end up believing in God.
Well, every individual has their own way of communing with God, but that's not to say that silence is purely religious. I mean, it can work wonders for your mental well-being. Why don't we try it right now? 1 minute.
OK.
The footage you're watching has been sped up. Current BBC programming guidelines prohibit on-air silences over 30 seconds in duration, while greater flexibility is permitted for BBC's 2 and 4. BBC One viewers are thought to benefit from content with frequent noises.
There's your minute.
I decided to stroll the grounds and soon found myself walking like a monk, hands behind my back, nodding at passers-by, a smile as my resting face. But smiling constantly starts to make your face ache. I wondered if it felt the same for Holly Willoughby. Although the Bible doesn't mention potted plants, monks absolutely love them. But when I lent a hand, I began to see a very different side to these brothers. You see, silence can be a kindness. It can show courtesy to a fellow clay pigeon shooter. But anyone who's driven home with their wife after a row at a party will know that silence can be used as a weapon. Could the monks have been doing the same? It amused me to imagine I was in an institute full of angry wives in big brown dresses. But the more they pretended not to see me, the more I wondered if it was intentional. And when a sprightly monk snatched my pot, I became convinced they were trying to break me. Perhaps they were tapping Morse code messages to each other on plant pots, like, why isn't this new man wearing brown? Let's pick on him till he either cries or cuts his hand. They had won.
Can't you see that I need help? What are we all doing here? Get plants at home base.
Some might say in breaking my vow of silence, I'd lost a competition with God, but it felt good. So I decided to break another rule that had really annoyed me. No running and jumping. Would God disapprove of this too? After all, 2,000 years ago, there was another man who got done for breaking the rules.